In this video, we're going to show you how to choose and then use clipless pedals, which are what so-called proper cyclists use. Now, they are by no means essential, of course, to riding a bike, but they should enhance your level and also your enjoyment of cycling. Unfortunately, though, they can be the source of pain and huge embarrassment, both for new users and also slightly below average ex-professional cyclists. I missed the beanbag. Now, in order to teach you out there how to use clipless pedals for the very first time, I'm going to teach somebody right here how to use clipless pedals for the first time. My pupil / guinea pig today is my beautiful, intelligent, talented and, I've forgotten it again. What's the other thing you want me to say?
Sophisticated.
That's the one, yeah. Is my beautiful, intelligent, talented and sophisticated wife, Lorraine. Now, my younger son, Jude, used clipless pedals for the first time around about a year ago when he was 8. And rather annoyingly, like all things with youngsters, he picked things up very quickly indeed. However, using clipless pedals for the first time can be a bit daunting when you are, when you have a little bit more life experience, shall we say. So we're going to go very carefully on this one so that A, Lorraine doesn't get hurt, and in turn, B, I don't get hurt either. Before we get on to the practical, let's start with the theory. Firstly, yes, it is a bit weird to call them clipless pedals when you clip into them, but that name comes from the fact that they superseded toe clips and straps back in the 80s. There's a huge amount of choice out there when it comes to clipless pedals, but they generally fall into two categories, they being road and off-road. And I've got two examples of those here from our partners for this video, Shimano, who generally are the gold standard when it comes to pedals. First up, here in my hand, I have got the Priddy ED500. These are mountain bike pedals. As you can see, they are double-sided, which means you can clip in on both sides, and they work in combination with some fairly small cleats, which look like this. 2-bolt design, and they will need to be used in a specific mountain bike pair of shoes. However, as Lorraine is using a road bike, I decided that she should be using road-specific pedals. So these are the Priddy RS500. They're entry-level clipless pedal on the road, and I've chosen them for a couple of specific reasons. Firstly, they have a wider platform, and secondly, they have a lower spring tension. Both of those things make it easier to clip in and to clip out. Also, they have a spring adjustment screw here at the back, which I've loosened off to make it even easier for Lorraine to clip out of the pedals. Now, road cleats look quite a lot different to mountain bike ones. Firstly, as you can see, they're a lot bigger. Secondly, they have a 3-bolt design, which means you'll need to use specific road shoes. And you have 3 options when it comes to Shimano cleats. First up, these red ones, they have 0 float, which means you are engaged and locked in. Float being how much you need to twist before you disengage from the pedal. Next up, you have intermediate blue ones. They have 2 degrees of float. And then finally, you have yellow ones. They have 6 degrees of float. They're ideal for beginners really because you've got a bit more freedom in the pedals and getting the position of them spot on the shoes is not quite so vitally important. Now, talking of the shoes, this is what Lorraine will be using. Look rather snazzy, don't they? These are Shimano's women-specific RP5Ws. They have the 3-bolt design at the bottom for the cleats, and they're reasonably simple to mount. All you need to do is put a small amount of grease on each bolt, tighten them up with the cleat facing forward, and then you're ready to go. Okay, all done.
Okay, darling, so what's next?
Well, babes, the temptation is going to be to go straight out on the road with your brand new pedals and your nice new shoes, but you want to resist that urge because it's much better to start static, preferably using a home trainer like the one you see here, but if you don't have one, you can just use a wall inside or preferably 2 walls like a corridor so that you can't fall off in either direction. Reason being is you want to spend at least 20 minutes getting used to them before you head out. So it's time to clip in for the first time. All you need to do is have your lead foot crank near the bottom of the pedal stroke here. Engage the front of the cleat with the front of the pedal, push down. You should hear a loud snap, at which point you are clipped in. Do you want to give that a go?
Yep, okay.
Oh, straight in. And then all you need to do to disengage from the pedal is twist. Now you can do it either way, but preferably you want your heel to come out. So if you just twist like that, and we're out. That's it, getting the hang of it. Once you've done that a few times with your lead foot, clipped in and out, at that point you can clip it back in, and then we're going to get you on the saddle. So clip it back in with your lead foot. Oh, that's it, and get yourself on the saddle, and you might need to start pedaling. Oh, you're already in. So both feet clipped in now. And Lorraine would tend to stop at a junction and put her left foot down. So it's best to start practicing by taking that foot off to start with, putting it down, and just practicing like that. And as I said, a good 20, maybe even 30 minutes of practice indoors is preferable before you head outside. And even then, not to the road, but to the park.
How much longer do I have to do this, Dan?
Oh, a few more minutes and you'll be ready to go out, I think. Well, we're 20 minutes into our practice now, and Lorraine does seem to be really getting the hang of it, which is really important because you want it to become second nature, that twisting gets you off the pedals before you start to head outside. And I do also want to point out that this is genuinely the first time that Lorraine has ever tried clipless pedals before. Albert were kind enough to loan us this Orca road bike a couple of weeks ago. We've been out for a couple of road rides, haven't we, with Jude, with flat pedals, but you've never used these clipless pedals before. How are they feeling now?
Yeah, great. I mean, it was quite challenging to start with, but it's definitely got easier. And I'm not sure if that's because they've loosened up a bit or whether I've just got used to the technique of doing it. Yeah,
well, I think you are now ready to go outside. Not onto the road though, we're going to head into the park. Right, here we are, it's the big moment. There are a couple of reasons why you might want to search out your local grassy park. The first of those is that obviously there's no traffic. You might also want to wait for when it's quiet, so there are no spectators either. But the second one is that, of course, it's a much softer land, and if, heaven forbid, you do come off, and actually a much wetter one at the moment because we've just had a torrential downpour. Now, what you want to do is very similar to what we've been doing already inside, i.e. practicing clipping in and unclipping a lot. But there are a couple of differences. Now, the first of those is that when you push off, same lead foot, so that was the right one for you, clip that in before you push off. And then you want to pedal a couple of times to get up some speed before you attempt to clip the other foot in. Now the reason for that is that you're probably going to have to look down to engage that left foot, and it might take you a couple of goes. So if it does, you're going to lose a bit of speed, and of course with that, you'll also lose a bit of balance as well. And finally, you want to unclip well before you want to actually come to a stop so that you're ready. I know you're feeling quite nervous now, aren't you?
I am, a little bit, yes. Yeah.
In case you come off.
Mainly.
It is quite soft, it is quite soft, but you will get wet. Right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, get onto the bike, clip that one in. There we go. The other thing I forgot to mention is that you also want to consider what gear you're in. This one's actually pretty good, but you don't want to be in too hard of a gear because it'll be hard to get going, but also not too easy because you'll be pedaling so fast it'll be difficult to even get into the next pedal on this left-hand side. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think
okay, so remember to just pedal a few times before you then look down to try and clip into the left one. So you can just
need to change gear.
No, you don't have to. I think just concentrate on the pedals for the moment.
Okay, thank you.
I've got my fingers crossed. Oh, you're in already? Right, remember to unclip before you want to stop. Clip now, that's it. Now you can also, if you want, unclip both pedals because I have seen a couple of people who've unclipped the left and then balanced off to the right, in which case they can't get the pedal out. So when you're first starting, sometimes it's an idea just to twist both out so that when you can go either way, basically at that point. Then it's just a case of continuing to practice around the park, I'm afraid, before I'm going to let you out on the open road.
Okay.
That's it. Pedal a bit, pedal a bit, pedal a bit. Pedal, 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 pedal. That's it.
Ah,
oh.
I'm too high. Oh.
You don't, so whilst you can twist out of both pedals to release them, you don't have to take both feet off the pedals, if that makes sense. So you can still, disengage the right one as well, but just leave it there so that you've got that to still sort of press on. Is your heart going? You're doing well. Well, we've been practicing for about half an hour now, or should I say Lorraine has, and you are getting much more used to it, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
But did have a tumble, I promised I wouldn't say that. We didn't get it on camera, which Lorraine is chuffed to bits about, but I'm slightly disappointed about. We're not going to go out on the road just yet though. I think I'd rather that Lorraine came out and practiced here in the park a couple more times over a couple more days before we did that. Firstly, just to get more used to the pedals before we go onto tarmac, but secondly, just to get used to the whole bike really, because you've only done 2 rides on it, so it's a lot to think about with the electronic gears and the clipless pedals, etc. So I just want you to be much more confident really before you go out, because the worst thing you can do is lose your confidence by coming off a couple of times when you go out on the road, and I don't want that to happen. But hopefully I'll be doing some filming with my phone out on the road in the next couple of days, which we'll put in this video, so you can see Lorraine in all her glory out on the open road. One more time before we get out there. Straight away. Incredible seats. All good?
Yeah.
How are you finding it?
Yeah, good. That was a hard climb.
Main thing is you unclipped.
Yes. What?
What? I would say then that that is mission accomplished, wouldn't you? Oh, what do you think about the coach, by the way? How have I done?
Yeah, you've been good, but I've heard that top athletes aren't usually very good coaches, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Was that a compliment? Probably not about my athletic career, but I'll take the compliment about the coaching. Anyway, I hope you get on all right with these tips in using clipless pedals for the first time at home. If you've already started using them and you've got your own tips that you want to leave in the comments section below, please feel free to do so that other new users can read them there. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up by clicking on the icon just down below.